1 week from Wednesday in Jewish time, 1 week from Wednesday is the first of Elul, the month before the High Holy Days. It's the official start of the countdown to the High Holy Days. We, all of us, are supposed to begin preparing for Rosh Hashanah and the Big Kippur, not in a month, but starting next week. The first Hebrew word of the Jewish New Year is often mispronounced in a way that teaches something very important. Here in the Deep South especially, people say, especially from where Hermine hails, in the Delta, Rosh Hashanah, instead of Rosh Hashanah. But perhaps this southern pronunciation is a more accurate description of the way we're living in 2014, 5775, than we would like to think. Too many of us rush all our years away. We race through every memorable experience, and we never stop to capture the magic of very special moments. Even something as simple as reading a book by yourself or with a child, having coffee with a friend, sitting down to what has become a rarity, a family dinner. We're literally killing ourselves to get no place faster. We rush our driving to save a few minutes travel time. We rush through breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Interesting fact, the time that people spend today in America preparing food, preparing meals, is now down to 6 minutes a day. It's 2.5 hours in France. We rush at home. At home, it's often a race to school, rush for shopping, hurry for carpools, the doctor's office, dancing, gymnastics lessons, music lessons, religious and Hebrew school. The clock, the rabbis say, is our master. Time is our tyrant. And perhaps most tragic of all, we race through each other's lives. Parents don't stop long enough to absorb the miracle of their children growing and learning and changing, whether they're 2 or 20. Why? Parents don't stop, not because they're bad parents, but because they feel they're too far behind in their schedules. There's too much on their to-do list to catch up with their lives and themselves. One of the big ideas of Judaism, friends, in fact, what's behind the very notion of Shabbat and the approaching High Holy Days is the awareness of time itself as God's great gift to us. And only we human beings are conscious of time. The rest of creation is not. The Memphis Zoo, still voted the #1 zoo in the country for mid-sized cities, has the cutest creatures. But so far as we can tell, animals do not pause to reflect on time. I don't think they're having Shabbat services right now in the Teton village. The days of our lives, therefore, appreciating every minute is our crowning achievement as human beings. We can change a Rosh Hashanah of hectic and frenzied living into a new year of sanctifying what truly matters most. It occurred to me, I was texting our member and friend Josh Passner. I don't say that to name drop. I say that because there are 65 home games between the Tigers and the Grizz. And not one high holiday service is as long as any one of those 65 games. What are we rushing for? Which brings us to the Torah portion for this Shabbat. Deuteronomy 7 through 11. How can we best sanctify time, you may ask? by giving thanks all the time. Think about it. When do a lot of people pray? When do you pray? When you're having a tough time, some kind of trouble, difficult time, or when you're hungry before you eat. This week's Torah portion comes along and says, "Ve'achalta v'savata uverachta et Adonai Elohecha al haaretz hatova asher natan lach," which means when you have eaten, after you're full, that's when you shall also give thanks to God. In other words, we are, as Jews, are commanded to stop rushing and to stop. We're commanded to thank and bless God, not only when we're hungry, but when we're full, when our needs have already been met. We're commanded to give thanks all the time. It's like that 5-word bumper sticker which reads, "What are you grateful for?" What are you grateful for? Jewish text after text teach that an attitude of gratitude is the most important prerequisite for human existence. Why? Because if we're not conscious of our blessings, then we focus on our deficiencies, we become mean-spirited, habitual complainers, or worse. Too many of us carry around a different 5-word bumper sticker, not on our cars, but in our attitudes. Instead of, "What are you grateful for?" The bumper sticker most people wear on their faces or coming out of their mouths are, "What are you upset about?" Have you ever noticed how many of us grumble? We complain about family members, spouses, parents, children. We get disgruntled over the smallest matters. We find fault in other people. We see things half empty. We become complainers. We rush through our days, failing to appreciate the blessing of life until it's too late. This week, 5 deaths. Thank God the families who lost loved ones never took a day for granted. But we rush through our days, failing to appreciate the blessing of life until it's too late. This is the week, friends, when looking back on the life of our faith family, Moses tells our ancestors, yes, remember the past, the upsets, the hardships, but above all else, give thanks, be grateful, stop complaining, stop asking, who and what can I be upset about? Start asking instead, what am I grateful for? If our services do nothing else, friends, I hope they help us not to rush, but to stop focusing on who or what we're upset about. Instead, I hope this service and every service Rabbi Bowman and I lead helps us to change the channel to this station. What are you grateful for? Instead of grumbling to God, perhaps we ought to be more grateful for the power God has given us to care and to comfort, reach in, reach out, share in each other's pain, rejoice in each other's happiness, live with a deeper sense of gratitude. It will change your life, but don't wait until Rosh Hashanah next month. In the spirit of tonight's Torah portion, reclaim your sense of gratitude, caring, and kindness right now. And let us say, Amen.